Hi, this is Malinki. Welcome to my channel Voice of Malinki. So today we will discuss about PAMs and PRRs. Okay, so let's discuss. So before starting, if you are new in my channel, please subscribe my channel, and if you like my video, please do like, comment and share my video. Okay, so upon a microbial infection, so when an infection actually occurs, the body needs to defend against those harmful pathogens, right? So when an infection occurs, our body needs to defend against those infections, against those harmful pathogens. And this is achieved through some specialized receptors, and those receptors are actually PRRs, right? So these are PRRs. So these are some receptors that are required during the defense against the pathogens. And these these are called as pattern recognition receptors. So pattern recognition receptors or PRRs, they actually play a crucial role in second line of defense. So they play a crucial role in second line of defense. Hence they are members of innate immune system. So these PRRs are members of innate immune system and they play a crucial role in second line of defense. Okay, so PRRs are actually, these are some receptors, and these are nothing but some proteins. So they are proteins and they are expressed by phagocytic cells. So these PRRs are expressed by phagocytic cells. And those phagocytic cells include the dendritic cells, macrophages, monocytes, neutrophils, eosinophils, mast cells, and some other immune cells. So these are some cells which express pattern recognition receptors or PRRs. Okay, so these receptors are present at the cell surface. So these receptors are present on the cell surface to recognize extracellular pathogens. So when these receptors are present on the cell surface of the cells, they can recognize the extracellular pathogens. But these receptors are also present in the endosomes and lysosomes inside the cells. And in the endosomes and lysosomes, they sense intracellular pathogens, because endosomes and lysosomes are found inside the cells, and when PRRs are localized in the endosomes and lysosomes, they can sense the intracellular pathogens. And in cytoplasm also we can find some PRRs, and the PRRs which are found in the cytoplasm, they also detect intracellular pathogens. So from here we can understand that these pattern recognition receptors, they can detect the extracellular pathogens as well as the intracellular pathogens. So when they are located in the cell surface, that time they can detect extracellular pathogens, and when they are found in the cytosol or when they are localized in the endosome or lysosome, they can detect the intracellular pathogens. And PRRs identify two types of molecules. So first one is PAMs, that is pathogen associated molecular patterns, and second one is DAMs, that is damage associated molecular patterns. So PRRs can identify both PAMs and DAMs. So what are PAMs? Okay, so PAMs are associated with microbes. So you need to understand these things, that PAMs are associated with microbes and they are not present in the host cell. So PAMs are not present in the host cell and therefore they are considered as non-self or foreign. So PAMs are considered as non-self or foreign. Why? Because they are not present in our host cell. Therefore, our immune cells can differentiate between those foreign cells and host cells by the presence of these PAMs. So this is very important because our immune cells have to differentiate between self and non-self. They have to detect which are foreign and which are our own molecules, which are our own cells, and they can do it by the help of these PAMs, because PAMs are only found in case of foreign cells and non-self cells, but we will not get any PAMs in our own cells. So after the identification, PRRs bind these PAMs. So first of all, PRR will identify this PAM, they will detect this PAM, and when they detect this PAM, they will bind those PAM, that in turn induces various cellular responses, including the transcription of genes. So when the PRR PAMs binding occurs, they will induce some gene transcription that ultimately results in the elimination of the pathogen. So what is the ultimate aim? So the ultimate aim is to eliminate the pathogen, and to do this, PAMs and PRR binding occurs, and when these PAMs and PRRs binding occurs, they induce transcription of some genes, and that ultimately results in the elimination of the pathogen. Okay, so PAMs include lipopolysaccharides or LPS, lipopolysaccharides, or sometimes we can say them lipopolysaccharides. Whatever it is, lipo or lipo, these LPS, they are actually present in gram-negative bacteria. So they are present in gram-negative bacteria. So they are one type of PAM. Then lipoteichoic acid and peptidoglycan. So lipoteichoic acid and peptidoglycan, they are present in gram-positive bacteria. So lipoteichoic acid and peptidoglycan are present in gram-positive bacteria. So this lipoteichoic acid, peptidoglycan, LPAs, all are different types of PAMs. PAMs could be nucleic acids, that is bacterial, viral nucleic acids. They could be DNA, they could be RNA, any type of bacterial or viral nucleotides come under PAMs. Bacterial proteins. So bacterial proteins like flagellin, like microtubule elongation factor. So these are some bacterial proteins. So these types of bacterial proteins are also PAMs. PAMs could be fungal glucans and chitin. So fungus have chitin membrane, we know, and these may act as PAMs. Now we will discuss about DAMs. So I have already told that PRR can detect DAMs also. So what are DAMs? So they are associated with components of host cells that are released during cell damage or death after an infection by a pathogen. Okay, so when a pathogen attacks a cell, when a pathogen infects a cell, that cell gets damaged, that cell undergoes death, and when the cell dies, this cell will release various factors, various components, and those components are actually DAMs. That's why these are called as damage associated molecular patterns, because they are associated with damage, Once a DAMP is released from the cell, it binds PRR and promotes an inflammatory response. So when a cell dies after an infection, it will release some molecules. Those are considered as DAMPs, and those DAMPs will bind PRR, and that binding will promote inflammatory response that will ultimately save our body. DAMPs could be proteins, polysaccharides, DNA or RNA, and the presence of DNA anywhere other than the nucleus or mitochondria is considered as a DAMP. Okay, so if our body, if the immune cell can find DNA or RNA that are not found in the nucleus of mitochondria, especially DNA, so the DNA which are not found in nucleus or mitochondria, these DNA are considered as DAMPs, because DNA should locate in nucleus, right? DNA should be located in nucleus or mitochondria. So whenever a DNA is not at its own place, whenever it is outside the nucleus or mitochondria, there should be some problem has been occurred. So these DNA would be considered as DAMPs. Types of PRRs. So different types of PRRs are found in our immune cells. So first one is toll-like receptors or TLRs, then nod-like receptors or NLRs, then C-type lectin receptors or CLRs, and RIG1-like receptors or RLRs. So they all are PRRs. Now we will discuss one by one. Okay, so first is TLRs. Okay, so TLRs is toll-like receptors. Now the name toll is actually where from it came. It is a gene that is found in fruit fly. So toll is a gene that is found in Drosophila melanogaster, the fruit fly, and it is responsible for flies' protection against infection. So this toll is responsible for flies' protection against the infection. Now toll-like proteins have been found in animals. When these toll-like proteins are found in animals, they are known as toll-like receptors because they are same as the toll gene that is found in the fruit fly. That's why the name is toll-like receptors. And these receptors are transmembrane proteins. So they are transmembrane proteins and they are present in the plasma membrane and the membranes of endosome and lysosome. So you need to know that TLRs are found in plasma membrane as well as in the membrane of endosome and lysosome. And human have 10 TLRs. So human have 10 TLRs, TLR1 to TLR10. Now we will know the function of each TLR. So TLR1 can recognize peptidoglycan. TLR1 can recognize peptidoglycan that is found in the gram-positive bacteria. TLR2, it recognizes lipoticoic acid that is found in gram-positive bacteria. TLR3 recognizes double-stranded viral RNA. So it recognizes double-stranded viral RNA. TLR4 recognizes lipopolysaccharides or LPS in gram-negative bacteria. TLR5 recognizes bacterial flagellin. TLR6 recognizes mycoplasma. TLR7 recognizes single-stranded viral RNA. Single-stranded viral RNA can be recognized by TLR7, whereas double-stranded viral RNA could be recognized by TLR3. TLR8 recognizes single-stranded viral RNA like TLR7. So TLR7 and TLR8 both can recognize single-stranded viral RNA. TLR9 can recognize unmethylated CpG oligonucleotides of bacteria and virus. So we know that the bacteria and viral nucleotides, they are not methylated like us. So our human DNA, human nucleotides are methylated, and methylation actually occurs on C and G. C and G methylation occurred. But in case of bacteria and viruses, their nucleotides, their C and G nucleotides are not at all methylated. So they are unmethylated. So TLR9 acts in this way that they can recognize the unmethylated CpG. When they recognize the unmethylated CpG, they can find, yeah, there is a problem because they are unmethylated. So they must be foreign, they are not from our own body. TLR10 recognizes lipopeptides or lipopeptides of pathogen. So in this way, different TLRs can recognize different PRRs, right? So they are recognizing, in this way, these TLRs are recognizes different PAMs. These all are PAMs. They all are PAMs. So TLRs recognize these PAMs. Okay, next is NLRs. So after TLR, we have NLR. So they are found in cytoplasm and they sense intracellular pathogens because they are found in cytoplasm. As they are in the cytoplasm, definitely they can sense intracellular pathogens. So bacterial, viral, parasitic and fungal PAMs could be recognized by NLRs. Then CLRs. So CLRs are localized in the plasma membrane. Like TLR, CLRs also localized in plasma membrane and they recognize glycan from fungi. So the function is different between CLR and TLR. CLR can recognize mainly fungal pathogen, mainly fungus, and they can recognize the glycans from fungi. Then one more is RLRs. So RLRs are also found in cytoplasm like NLRs and they are soluble PRRs. So you need to understand this thing that RLRs are soluble PRRs and they recognize viral RNA. So this is mainly important to recognize the viral RNA. So NLRs can recognize bacterial, viral, parasitic, fungal, any type of pathogen, any type of intracellular pathogens could be recognized by NLRs, whereas RLRs can only recognize viral RNA, and this is specialized for viral RNA, and they initiate release of type 1 interference because they can recognize the viral RNA, and when they recognize viral RNA, we know that the cells release type 1 interference, and that is done by these RLRs. So in this picture, you can have the idea that where which TLR, which PRR is associated in which location of the cell. So first one is the TLR. So TLR is present, this is the plasma membrane. So TLR is present in the plasma membrane. TLR is also present in the membrane of endosome, or here you can say the lysosome, and then you can get the NLR. So NLR is present in the cytosol, RLR is also present in the cytosol, and CLR is present in the plasma membrane. And these are some bacteria, virus who have their PAM, and the CLR, TLR, all of them, they can recognize these PAMs and they can recognize these virus or bacteria. The extracellular pathogens could be recognized by CLR and TLR, whereas the intracellular pathogen, if these are intracellular pathogen, they could be recognized by NLR and RLRs, and TLR can recognize the virus or bacteria or anything that are associated with endosome and lysosome. So these TLR that is associated with endosome or lysosome, they also can recognize intracellular pathogen. So this is all about PRR and PAMS.